are two topics that I want to go over today. I think that you received a packet about what we want to do for the memorial benches and trees at Silver Lake Park and at McCleary Park. So if you've had a chance to review them, kind of let's talk about this so we can go further in getting it together. If you see, Mike and Colleen walked around Silver Lake. I've walked around Silver Lake too. There's probably room for about 21 memorial benches around the perimeter of the lake. You have a map there that shows you where they could possibly go. Those benches cost about $700. And that's what it costs us, correct, Colleen?
It's about $650 for the bench and an additional $50 for the engraving. So we don't make any money on the program. It's a net zero cost.
Okay, and also at Silver Lake, around the new playground, which is in the direct sun all day long. So we want to try and plant some trees to give some shade over there. And what we could do is, instead of just making them shade trees, we could make them memorial trees and have someone come forward and use that tree for, you know, a family member or for whatever reason. And we're thinking the cost for the tree, and we're just throwing that out there, $400. Now, the trees probably cost us $125, $150. And there's a saying that when you buy a $100 tree, you dig a $200 hole. That's so important. You can't just buy an expensive tree, just stick it in the ground and expect it to grow. So there's going to be some expenses to us to make sure that tree grows. Like we have to water it, we'll have to mulch it, we'll have to prune it for about 2 years before that tree has a root system that can, you know, take off on its own. So what do we think about the prices for the bench and trees? Mark?
Cost doesn't bother me. My concern would be, I don't see any price for picnic tables, but I see them listed here for McCleary Park.
We have it listed at $700 per table. I don't know if you see it down there at the bottom.
That's what that
Oh, okay.
700 means.
There we go. I was looking at Silver Lake. If those picnic tables or benches get vandalized or damaged, what's the process for replacing them?
Good
Do
question.
we get cost for that, or are we going to just say remove it?
The way we have run the bench program to date is that this is a one-time acquisition. The bench is there for as long as nature or acts of God allow it to be there, that we're not responsible for vandalism. Now, you know, if something extraordinary happened and we could handle something on a case-by-case basis, of course we would. But part of the program that was so successful all along the boardwalk was the understanding that this was a one-time purchase. We can't guarantee the life of that bench.
What do we do when it's, I guess when the bench becomes in a state of disrepair? Who's making the decision to remove it?
That'd
So
be up
would
to
that be at the
DPW.
DPW? And
That'd be up to DPW for safety reasons.
will there be any type of reimbursement, or will we give that person an opportunity to maybe place another one there?
We could
Be
do
on the
that. We
First
could give
first
them
on the list to be able to do that?
first option of refusal.
Okay.
We could write that into the contract.
Yeah, it could be given the bench. They may want that, they may want to repair it. But it may be in a position where we've got to get out there because it increases our liability and someone could get hurt on it.
Sure.
But they may want to put it in their backyard or something.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes?
Mark's got a question. Just to answer Mark's question about the longevity, the benches that we're buying are rated for 20 years.
Okay.
It's not a cheap bench at all. We could have gone with a much cheaper bench. Again, not including vandalism or floods or acts of God, but the longevity by itself should last a long time. We actually shopped around to make sure that that was, you know, something that we want. You don't want to just buy a new bench every 2 years and have people's memorials go away.
Sure.
But again, I can't go with vandalism or floods but again, hopefully the benches themselves, if they say 20, hopefully they'll last 30. But again, they are very well made benches. And we're trying to do the same with the picnic tables.
We're not looking at putting any trees at McCleary Park right now because the conditions over there get pretty extreme. And it's hard to select a tree. You may have to take a couple of attempts before a tree really takes root with the winds coming off the river, and it's very salty air. And willow trees might work over there. London plane trees might work over there. But it's a difficult area to grow some trees. So we're going to take the simple route and go with the benches right now and make it a picnic area. How are those barbecue?
The new grills are installed.
They are installed?
They are installed. 12 new grills went in about 2 weeks ago. DPW installed them, and they're very, very popular.
Who decided where they went? No, in other words,
Not quite. Our fire marshal, who actually we like to consult on matters of fire safety, worked with us to make sure we were placing them correctly and not underneath the shade of the tree. And the mark out happened with the fire department, with the fire marshal and DPW.
And Charlie.
And Charlie.
that would be a problem if the barbecue grill caught a tree on fire, fell on one of our benches and burned.
That would, yes.
The worst case scenario. Okay. Mark, do you have it?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I'm glad to see the prices are, inclusive of everything, and, I mean, I'm sure that'll get the trees up and benches out there. The other thing, the 4x6 engraved plaques,
Yes.
is that like 4 inch by 6 inch, or
Yeah.
4 feet by something like that?
It's like a
That's-
typical tree plaque size. But that's up for discussion if you'd like us to spec something else out.
Yeah, no, I just, it's with 4x6 engraved, we have a certain design, and it's gonna be like aluminum or metal or stone, or, maybe we could decide, so it's not, every one of the trees has something different.
No, it would be a consistent look
Yeah.
across all of them.
Yeah. Now, would the engraved plaque be included with the $400
Yep.
price? So we would be putting that.
Yeah, we
So
cost
all
estimated
consistent.
that into there.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with all that, and the placement of everything looks pretty good.
Right.
Over to you, Jen.
Yeah, I definitely like the placement. I definitely think we're in need of more benches and trees. The price, it's a little high, but that's what it is. We're not certainly wanting to make any money on it. And I just hope people take advantage of it, because I think it's very, very nice program.
Now, the Shade Tree Commission, at our last meeting, thought that the best trees, the most versatile trees to do over there at the playground would be like a pin oak tree.
Yep.
It's not too big, provides shade, grows pretty quickly, and we will be planting them on the east side of the park and on the west side of the park for shade. But along the southern fence, probably go with more like a flowering tree, perhaps like a
Crepe myrtle.
crepe myrtle or something like that. Crepe myrtle does well in this kind of conditions. So it should grow well, and this time of year, the crepe myrtle are in bloom, so it will give us color in the middle of the summer. So, anybody else? I mean, do you recommend any other trees? We've researched it pretty good.
The type of tree on here we're not specifying, right? I assume that's gonna be left up to the Shade Tree Commission. to
Shade Tree
determine
Commission has
exactly.
decided,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're recommending the pin oak for its versatility. And it should do well there. So I like this idea around Silver Lake and McCleary Park. Also mention that we also have Doughboy Park over here, and there are some trees already planted, and they're mature trees. If someone doesn't want a memorial tree at Silver Lake or at McCleary Park, perhaps they would go with a plaque at one of those trees at Doughboy Park. Maybe if one of their family members was in World War II or World War I even, something like that. I think we should not discount that, but maybe we just charge them a the price for the plaque or something like that, since those trees are already there and are mature.
We could have a conversation with the Historical Society as well, so just as people can sponsor some bricks. Maybe
Yeah,
that could be a nice program
exactly.
for them
Oh,
to
yeah.
adopt a tree. So I can
Exactly.
talk with them.
Okay, the next thing on the workshop discussion. Last night at the planning board meeting, we had an application which was a change of use at 1600 Highway 71. It's where Mr. Shrimp used to be. Mr. Shrimp has moved next door, actually across the boundary line into Wall Township. And the owner of that building wants to move back to that building at 1600 Highway 71, RKE Athletic. And he wants to bring his retail store there and a chiropractor. So the use was a change of use, but now that store is going to have a lot lower impact. But he still had to come before the planning board. Because we have an ordinance that says any changes of use, that's what you have to do. But it costs the gentleman a lot of money to go from a busy restaurant to a low-impact chiropractor store. So I wonder if you might want to entertain the thought to amend that ordinance to allow it to be done administratively instead of the man to show, an applicant to show up and spend hundreds of dollars for a lawyer, an engineer, and whatnot. Any thoughts?
No, I actually think that's a good idea, because he was going from a high impact retail location to a low impact, and it is really detrimental to somebody that has to come before the planning board for an application like that and spend all the money,
Yeah.
when it's actually a better use of the space. So like he's going from an A to a B, or however we could word the ordinance. Yeah, I would be all in favor of that.
Mark, any thoughts?
I wasn't at the planning board meeting, so I didn't hear the specific details on
Okay.
on the case, maybe it's subjective as to what is something more beneficial use to the community, so I want to take a look closely at the ordinance before I have judgment on it.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. I would like to find out a little bit more details before giving my thoughts on that.
Now I'm going to throw it down to you, Greg. Do you think we could amend that ordinance, or would you need to talk to Doug Kovats, the planning board?
Let me talk to Mr. Kovats. I'm not sure percent of the exact situation, one, but two, as you know, obviously you control your zoning ordinances and planning guidelines, but I'm not sure that the municipal land use law entitles surrounding property owners to a hearing, notwithstanding, those ordinances. So I'd have to check with Mr. Kovats, and that's the exact situation, but anything we can do to streamline it's obviously always good for business owners. But I have to make sure that that's not a requirement of the municipal land use law, in which case it wouldn't be within your purview to change.
Now, there was another thing that we talked about at the planning board last night. It was something that the council sent to the planning board for their review. And the general opinion of the planning board was, well, we should find out what the council wants. So really, okay, I'm the mayor, we're the council people, but I don't know the ordinances well enough to know what's best for Belmar. So I'm thinking our planning board attorney, our zoning board attorney, and our borough attorney get on a conference call or talk to one another and go over some of their thoughts, and maybe our attorneys recommend to the council so that we can recommend to the planning board and the zoning board. What do you think there, Greg?
I can certainly sounds like I'll be talking to Mr. Kovats anyway. Mr. Kenny involved shouldn't be a problem, he's usually available. It was in respect to a referral from the governing body to the planning board?
Yeah, on the, across the way, we're in amending the Seaport redevelopment, which is on the agenda today. going from a mixed use, retail on the first floor, residential on the second and third floor, and changing it to residential on all 3 floors. We sent that question to the planning board, and they basically last night wanted to send it back to us to see how we felt. So there was a little like, we meet here like twice a month, planning board meets once a month, and we really don't know the ordinances as well as the legal staff does.
Right, and there's staff in planning and zoning boards that's their job.
Yeah.
As well. I can certainly touch base with them and figure out what their referral was, and then I can get to them and find out exactly what the situation is, what the status is, and bring it back to you guys in the memo form.
Okay, also at the planning board meeting, we got the 2017 year-end report from the Zoning Board of Adjustment. And actually, we saw this a couple weeks ago. And the zoning board wants the mayor and council to consider a couple matters. Like one is the use of garages. Our ordinance states that a garage is only for vehicles. But there's some people that want to use their garage for a studio, or an art loft, or some other reason. And so, does that affect the parking ratio on that property? There's also, they want us to clarify the ordinance of for the definition of what a bedroom is. I think you mentioned that to us one time. For what a bedroom should
Arguing
be.
everywhere, yeah.
Another thing on the zoning board is requesting the council to review is the multifamily cluster development. And that's where I guess you have like 4 townhouses connected to one another. Our ordinance says it has to be 4 or 5 sided, but Belmar is pretty well built out. So can there be a property that might, the ordinance might allow for a 3-sided cluster? So, and Greg, I say this to you, and maybe you can jump in here. I really don't know the legalities of what is best for writing an ordinance. And they also had another one, the review of the parking driveway ordinances. The calculation of the area of a driveway between the front facade of the house and the sidewalk is not considered a legal parking space. So in other words, if you park in your driveway, that's not considered a parking space like this. So some of these things need to be tightened up. I think you could do that with a call to Mr. Kennedy and Mr. Kovacs, and then come back and advise us. And then we could, we're certainly smart enough to go with, option A, option B, and then we can let the planning board and the Board of Adjustment know which direction we want to go.
Can lay it out for you.
Jen, do you have any problem with throwing it to our?
No, and I'm not familiar with a lot of that, to be honest,
Yeah.
so,
And you should, you really wouldn't be unless you're doing it all the time.
yeah.
What?
Just getting back to the ordinance that we're going to vote on tonight about the Seaport redevelopment. Maybe Colleen could give us a little bit more enlightenment why it's on for second reading and explain why it's on tonight. I think you have
Sure.
a little bit more to add to that.
Sure. So this is probably the 3rd time you're seeing this issue. You saw it the first time when Mr. Capalco came and presented the revised plans for the property, for the development, Eastport, I think it's called, which included residential, 100% residential, including the ground floor. You voted yes in terms of letting that application proceed. We then were advised by our planner that we needed to adjust the Seaport redevelopment plan to ensure that that was compliant with the plan. And so you did first reading of that ordinance, I think approximately a month ago. The way those redevelopment ordinances work is that you do first reading and introduction, then it goes to the planning board for their input and comment, in case they have a concern or have thought of something that we haven't. That happened last night. They have blessed the measure. And so now it comes back to you for final reading and adoption.
And that's just for that property over by the,
Exactly right. This essentially memorializes that initial decision that you made several weeks ago now about 100% residential in certain places within the Seaport redevelopment area.
so are we looking to table this tonight until we hear from,
No, the planning board did respond. The Covats sent an email this morning.
Yeah, they're fine. They're
Okay,
fine
so
with
they're
it.
fine with this
They're
one,
fine
so
with
this
it.
can
You
go
can
forward
proceed for
tonight.
your vote tonight.
Okay.
But there are other issues that they would like us to give them some feelings of how we want them to go. Not that they have to go with our direction, but, you know, they get, you know, it gives them a better idea of how to vote on matters.
All right, but this one here that's going tonight is just directly for that piece of property?
Yeah, Mr. Kapalka was here, or any planning board. Right.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just have one other thing that I would like to bring up during the workshop. There was a bill passed by the governor, and it has to do with the sick time issue. Greg, Mr. Kennedy, are you familiar with this bill? With
Yes.
all employees now, including crossing guards, lifeguards, gate attendants, the way the bill reads, everybody now.
Mark, we can't hear you.
We will be able to, they need paid sick time leave now. It's, I guess, a state law. So my question is, are we doing a financial analysis of what it's going to cost us? And how are we going to implement that? Are we going to add this to, I know we probably haven't had a handbook update in a long time, but an employee handbook update, but maybe we can ask Mr. Cannon to start going through it and see exactly what we need to do with it. Really do a financial analysis of what it's going to cost the borough. I mean, it's.
Financially, it'll be up to actually the CFO, but Mr. Moshe has been your labor counsel.
Sorry, folks.
He was dealing with the right to work decision.
Yeah.
The updates generally come in, so I'm aware of them.
Right.
I believe he's working on that one as well.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
So
So
that's within his purview.
we can get you a
Sure.
full update and analysis, including, and Robin and I have talked about specking out what this would mean.
Yeah.
In our employee handbook, we do update every 2 years. We did an update
Oh, you do?
last year, but certainly would be included in the next update or before when we know what the impact is.
Yeah, because I
In
mean, we have
general,
a
is
lot
it-
of seasonal employees, and now it looks like every employee we have, every 30 hours they work,
Yeah.
they start to earn sick time up to 40 hours per year. So it's going to be a big impact, not only us, but a lot, I mean, more so for us because we have so many seasonal employees that will now be able to accumulate that and use that. And the use of sick time has been so expanded now, so it's, you know, so everybody's on the same page.
Sure, and we also have gotten word from the League of Municipalities and the local finance board that they're looking at the impact of this issue on all of us. Because it's not just us, obviously, that would be it.
And they do not have to be full-time employees,
Any employee,
no matter
any employee gets paid
what
sick
their hourly
up to
amount.
40 hours per year. So it's 5 days of sick
5
time.
days.
And the issue is that they, in the bill, that is that they expanded the sick time use. So it's almost like anybody can call out sick for any reason, as long as they have that time. And then if they don't use the sick time, they get it paid back to them at 50%. So, you know, it's gonna be a big cost for us, and I'm just, you know, wondering if we can do a financial outlook on it to see what we're gonna have to budget for that, because it's gonna be a lot of money.
I don't want to be cynical, but let me be cynical. I could see some seasonal employees taking advantage of that. Hypothetically, let's say a lifeguard left for school, and we're losing some lifeguards to go back to school now. And would we have to pay them, and they called up and said they were sick when they were back in school, and have to pay them an extra week?
Well, and as Mark, Councilman Mossfer points out, it's a very new bill, and we are awaiting
Yeah.
some additional
Yeah,
guidance.
yeah.
Usually the bills that are then promulgated into regs, and then we get guidance on those regulations from the local finance board so that we understand how to adhere to them. So the bill has been passed, and everybody's digesting it. Between there and the regulations being written the devil's in the details, and we're gonna learn about a lot of that.
And it goes into effect October 29th, so that's why I'm bringing it up at this meeting, because, you know, we're gonna have to figure out exactly how it's gonna be implemented.
Yeah.
All the department heads are gonna have to know exactly what to do, because we do have a lot of part-time employees that do not have the benefit of sick time right now, and they're gonna have that benefit comes October 29th. And you have to keep really good records according to what the December bill reads, so.
Fortunately, the vast majority of our seasonal employees are not going to be employed on October 29th.
Yeah, so we got until next summer, but
So we do have a little bit of time.
we do have crossing guards, and we do still use some part-time employees.
We do.
And they're gonna be.
Very good crossing guards.
Right, Bruce?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, anything else on workshop?
Yes, well, that's it for me.
Okay. Jen?
Nope, all good.
Okay, moving on, petitions. Is there anybody out in the audience that has a petition? If you do, step forward, hand it to the borough clerk. Okay, seeing none, we'll go to reports of council. Councilman Levis.
Nope, approval of minutes.
Oh, approval of minutes, sorry.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on August the 7th, 2018 be approved as recorded, and that a copy thereof be posted on the borough's website.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, reports of council. Now to you, Councilman Levis.
All I have is that, beginning tomorrow, our lifeguard staff with Rutgers University is going to be testing a life-saving drone on the beachfront, in the area of the 10th Ave Safety Pavilion. So if you see a drone flying around, don't be scared, it's being operated by Belmar employees.
Okay,
That's all I have.
I gotta get out of here.
thank you. Councilman
I gotta
Walsberg?
get out of here.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a Harbor Commission meeting, and I'm glad to report that the second half of the season for our marina, we do have a lot more boats that came in for the second half. We're not full yet, but it is a good sign that we've seen a lot more interest in our marina, and the boats coming in. We're doing a lot better than last year. And we just keep talking about how we can get it full to capacity and have a waiting list, so that's most of what the talk is, so. And I just wanted to make mention that Mike Campbell and his crew during that rain did a fabulous job. I mean, we had a lot of rain in a very short period of time. His guys were out there making sure that all the storm drains were cleared out, and we drained out pretty quick, so Mike, I tell your crew, they did a great job. That's all I got there.
Councilman Nicolay?
Second that, so thank you very much, Mike, your whole group, really just staying on top of everything, especially with the summer season, so I know you got your plate full, but everything looks amazing. I want to thank Colleen Dillon and all of the camp counselors and everybody involved, DPW, for doing an unbelievable job with our camp this year. My son attended, he was in his glory every day, and they just did a spectacular job. So kudos to them, thank you, and we look forward to next year already. I do want to announce that the soccer season has begun, and we've got boys and girls teams, so if you know anybody from, I guess, 2nd to 8th grade, girls and boys, that want to be a part of the team, to please let us know, or call Borough Hall and find out how they can contact the people involved. The girls, 5th grade through 8th grade, are in need of a coach or co-coaches desperately, so if anybody knows of anybody, even a college student or anybody that would like to help out, that'd be great. Belmar Arts Council, they've got an exhibit right now called Ancestors, and it's a really great exhibit where they have some artwork from an artist in town or locally, and then they've got some artwork from an ancestor of theirs with descriptions. That runs through September the 7th. The Circle of Friends, which we constantly support and absolutely adore their entire organization, they are having a dance Wednesday evening, 5:30 to 8:30, I believe. It's their big dance of the season, so like I said, if you've never visited or seen anything that they put together, please visit. You will have a smile on your face for the rest of the week. Lastly, just want to, my neighbor, Jean Creamer, had some surgery, and if you could please keep Jean in your thoughts, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, I don't have all the details.
There's nothing
Oh, I'm so sorry, I did forget another thing. The Belmar Council is raffling off the Freedman sign. So if you're interested in winning the Freedman sign, they're trying to raise some money. Tickets are 1 for $5, 2 for 10, just kidding. 1 for $5, 3 for 10, 7 for 20. And the drawing will be September the 15th. So please contact the Arts Council, and again, they are raffling off a very cool Freedman's Bakery sign.
Okay, I'll take it from here. Last Thursday, we had a meeting with officials from Avon and the Department of Transportation, because although they earlier in the year said when they replaced the bridge, traffic wasn't going to be stopped, wasn't going to be detoured, and then suddenly week before last, we found out that the bridge was going to close for 2 months, starting September 4th. So we quick got on the ball and we called the DOT, scheduled a meeting, and let them know about our very strong disapproval of closing down the bridge for required maintenance work, which they have to do. But we couldn't understand why, if you're going to replace an entire bridge, how you can keep the traffic still going, but when you're doing required maintenance work, you have to detour. So they acquiesced. The bridge work is still going to be done because it has to be done. But they're going to keep one lane open in each direction, and the work is not going to start September 4th or 5th, which would have been like the first week of school with the buses coming and traffic coming. That would have been really difficult to handle. So they will delay that start of the bridge, even though the sign is still flashing, September 4th. It's not going to be until September 10th that they begin the work on the Main Street Bridge. Also, the Historical Society, they're going to have an event called the Well-Equipped Doughboy, The Life of a World War I Soldier. It's going to be presented by the Historical Society. It's going to be Wednesday, September 12th, 7 p.m. at Taylor Pavilion. The speaker is going to be a Mr. Arthur Green. He's a military history scholar, and he's going to use artifacts from his private collection. This is a good follow-up on the replacement of our doughboy over here at the park. So mark down on your calendar, Wednesday, September 12th, 7 p.m., Taylor Pavilion. I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting. And that's what I have.
And this just in, breaking news. The BVP and the businesses of Belmar are having a sidewalk sale Saturday, August 25th. 11 to 4 p.m., please shop local, as I always say. There are going to be door prizes, live music, 4 to 6 p.m. They'll have a sidewalk sale all day long, though. Also, there's a chance to win a Weber grill, $800 retail value, and 5 $100 gift cards from Taylor Hardware for different businesses that are accepting the raffle ticket. Just put in your name. Music by the Doubting Toms and special guests, and again, sponsored by BVP, Taylor Hardware, and the businesses in Belmar. So again, Saturday, August 25th, 11 to 4 p.m., door prizes and live music from 4 to 6 p.m. Piano Plaza will be for the raffle area. So please take a walk the sidewalk sale.
Also, what we have scheduled at Piano Plaza for the Thursday after Labor Day, which is September 6th, we have scheduled Pat Roddy to play at Piano Plaza, starting at 6:30. So Pat hasn't played at Piano Plaza for about 2 or 3 years. He always draws a big crowd, and so we saved the best for right after Labor Day. So the Belmar residents can enjoy Pat, who grew up in Belmar. So that's Thursday, September 6th, the Pat Rodney Band at Piano Plaza. Thank you. All right, we have a public session now on the resolutions, only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of this meeting. Is there anybody up here that wants to pull anything from the consent agenda? You know, if you ever want more detail on the what's on the consent agenda, we always put it up before the meetings, a couple days before the meetings. April, about how long before the meetings?
Usually the Friday before.
The Friday before. You can read what resolutions we're going to be voting on. They can be found online if you want more detail on these consent. I know when we pick out these agendas from the table, sometimes they just list what the resolution is going to be. But some people express the interest in having more detail. So you can just go online first and read all about it. So public session on the resolutions, only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of this meeting. So is there anyone in the audience that wants to come up and speak about anything on the consent agenda? Any resolutions? Seeing none, I make a motion to close the public portion of the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So next, I make a motion to pass the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Now, is that the first time I was ever able to do that in line without a mistake? Thank you.
Got two ordinances coming up though, just to.
Okay. We have some ordinances right now. If there's any, do I read it first or do I call out?
Unfortunately, yeah. So first, you're going to make a motion to adopt. No, first we're going to open the public hearing for
Okay.
that ordinance, and then you'll all vote. We'll have a public
I
hearing.
make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinances, for ordinance 2018-12. If you want to speak about it, please come up to the microphone. Seeing no one, I make a motion to close the public portion on ordinance 2018-12.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Now I make a motion to pass ordinance 2018-12. This ordinance of the Borough of Belmar, amending chapter 29, Water Sewer Utility Department. Do I have a second?
Second?
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Now I make a motion to open a public portion for the second reading of ordinance 2018-13. Anybody want to come forward and speak about this ordinance? Seeing none, I make a motion to close the public portion for ordinance 2018-13. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Now I make a motion to pass ordinance 2018-13, the ordinance of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Belmar in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, amending the Seaport redevelopment plan and referring the same to the Borough Planning Board for the review and comment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Osmer?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, now we move to public session. If you want to have anything to say, any questions to the council, please step forward to the microphone, give your name, your address, and we'll see if we can help you out.
Okay, Gloria Uranium. Gloria Uranium, 135 Terrace Road. I just have a few things, if
Sure.
that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing I want to discuss is Terrace Road, the townhouses on Terrace Road. We have the drain in the back. Now, about, over a year ago, we had meetings with the city. It was determined that the responsibility is the responsibility of the city. That drain is the city's, okay? I signed off to have the drain repaired or replaced. Mrs. Plummer signed off to have it replaced or fixed. The marina signed off to have it replaced and fixed. There's been nothing done about it. I don't know whether the new house, I think Richard Hunt still owns it, I'm not sure, or is it co-ownership, I'm not quite sure how it reads. As far as I know, they have not signed off on having this project done, okay? And I wanted to know, what the city's position is on this. I mean, there's 10 families that are being, really impacted with all the flooding. Now, last week, it was terrible. We all flooded. I had 8 inches of water in my house. The drain did not drain properly. It's getting to be an issue, a real bad issue. And I can't understand why the city can't do anything with that house, or that they don't want to sign off on it. They were given so many variances and so many concessions to build that house, which is totally inappropriate for the neighborhood, in my opinion. It's oversized. It totally disrupted the whole character of our neighborhood. And we're stuck with all this flooding and everything, and everybody else can do whatever they want.
I'm going to try and answer your question the best I can, and then perhaps our administrator can give you a better answer, and then maybe a legal answer from Mr. Cannon. As I understand it, we can fix it. We are willing to fix it. We do, like you say, agree that Mrs. Plummer has agreed to let us go on her property. But we have, as I recall, we have reached out to that other property. I don't think it's Mr. Hunt owns it anymore. I think he sold it to the person that built that big house. But that big house did get approval from the zoning board.
Right,
So
and I mean,
it's legal. But we've reached out, phone call after phone call, I imagine letters, and no response. So I don't know if we can legally go on her property, because that's where the drain would have to get to the inlet to let the water drain out.
Right.
And so I'm going to ask Colleen, is that my memory correct?
Very accurate.
Yeah, so,
That's where we are.
yeah, we need that person. Greg, this is a problem. Is there any way we can do anything if this property owner doesn't respond to our phone calls or letters? We need that piece of
It's
property.
about a year and a half ago, as I remember. As I recall, there is no recorded easement, so we had,
to obtain the easement from
right,
that
so
property owner.
we don't have the right to go onto the property, or the one that won't consent, because there is no easement. The drain is there, but we never had any legal, there's no legal recording or nothing recorded on the properties that gives us the utility easement there, as I recall.
You know what I could suggest, what has changed in this last year is we do have a new borough engineer. Derek Jordan is our new PE, and it might be helpful to have a fresh set of eyes based on this project with us. We might go out there with Derek and to see if we can't find, lots of smart people have looked at this, so I'm not suggesting that a new PE is gonna have this brilliant idea, but it's worth a chance to look at it, see if there's a different way to engineer it, if there's something else we can do. We'll always have to look at it again. So without that easement, we couldn't do the replacement.
I've spoken to Mr. Rainey a number of times. I think I suggested to her, they all have to do is sign the easement and return it, and we can go out there and fix it.
Right.
So they have to at least take out their garbage at some point.
Is the resident living there, full-time, not there? No, it's.
I don't know. I see her. She's there every day. The new owner, she's
That's
there
not
every day.
something
Whether
we
she's
can
actually
send
living
over.
there or not, I don't know.
To get a
No CO
signature,
yet.
I mean,
It's still under construction. They don't have a final CO yet.
oh, we couldn't go to the residents with the paperwork they need to sign and get that approved?
Many times.
I think we tried that
Oh, okay,
yeah, several times.
Okay. I thought maybe it was being mailed to.
Let's talk with our new engineer, and I'll talk to the borough attorney, see if there's anything else we can think of.
So it's my understanding there's no other way, structurally that you
I
can
don't
do
have
it.
any hopes of.
Mike, you've seen that.
But in that case,
The outlet on the other side of
understand.
that property, now I remember, it goes like this.
Yeah.
The outlet is on the other side of that property, so your properties sit upstream, so to speak, from the property you have to go through. That was the problem, as I recall it, that it goes through the wall of the marina, but the last property has to go through is the property that won't consent.
Well, if she doesn't consent, we
You
have a big
know,
problem.
if you could get a neighborhood group or something like that, make friends with her and say how desperately you need us to.
I mean, it's just a little tiny corner of her lot. I mean, it's gonna be underground. It's
Yeah.
not gonna take away from her property or anything. I mean, it's, you know, and I mean, we're getting flooded terrible.
We're
Really
not allowed to
bad.
mention her name or anything like that, would we?
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
appropriate, but we can make another push and we can talk to Derek and see what
Yeah.
we can come up.
But the borough of Belmar certainly wants to get that resolved. And it's been a while, and that's the hangup. We need that easement.
Yeah, because this has been going on almost 2 years now that we,
I think longer than that, because that back area was been draining, and our DPW used to go in there and clear that out often until that became a liability. We couldn't go on private property to do that, so.
oh, they're coming now because we gave permission for them
Oh,
to go
okay.
back
We
there.
gave permission to clean.
Yeah, so, you
Okay.
know, I mean, if that wasn't cleaned, I mean, if there's still a lot of leaves in it and everything, that sometimes they come in and blow it, but it's, you have to get, I mean, the mosquitoes in that drain is unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's really getting to be a health hazard as well.
yeah. Belmar wants to help you out.
Okay, well,
I
I don't
hate to
know
use a
now.
dirty word, but is it possible to use eminent domain for a temporary easement or
Dirty word.
something like
Not
this?
for Belmar, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Is that
So,
correct?
You have an ordinance against it, you're not allowed to. But that's, I mean, that would be the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
But this borough is not, it's not permitted by ordinance, no.
okay. So the final analysis is if this woman doesn't agree to it, 10 families' properties are in jeopardy. That's the bottom line. That's what you're saying to me.
That's what your borough ordinance is set. You can't use eminent domain here.
All right. Okay, so I want to know how to proceed with this, so that's where we stand. If we don't get the permission from her,
I have, yeah, there's very little, other than taking, there's no legal tool to take that property right.
okay, another thing. Our driveway to access the back of our house is between Mr. Ray's property and Kevin O'Donnell's old property.
Right.
Okay. The parking is so bad on Fifth Avenue now with the new office building and all the construction people that are parking there. They park so close to the driveway, I mean, it's like right on the driveway, that the 10 families, we have to go out and virtually get in the middle of Fifth Avenue so we can look both ways to see if the traffic is coming. I was wondering if there was any way we could yellow up the sides so that at least they park over a little bit, so that we could at least get out and be able to view I mean, it's,
Mike, I think we can probably get that done tomorrow, don't we?
That's your wish.
Let's,
Yeah,
get
it's-
somebody out there to do it legally and give them I know exactly what she's talking about.
yeah, because I almost hit somebody one day coming out of there. I was like.
Not on purpose.
No, but I mean, it was just, you know, you can't see. It's like you have to be virtually in the middle of Fifth Avenue. So it's, that would be great.
The Belmar Police Department to go with me tomorrow morning. Okay.
It's a police determination, but I'm
It's
sure.
a
we
police
can work
determination
Yeah.
and it's a DPW paint, right?
this. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And one more thing, and then I won't bother you.
Not bothered.
If you're walking south over the bridge, and you get on Belmar's side of the bridge, and you want to cross over to Fifth Avenue, say like you're going from Avon to Old Strollers on the corner for ice cream.
Okay.
Okay. The way the curve is, it doesn't go onto Fifth Avenue. It goes on a side sweep onto Main Street, and then, in other words, the crosswalk is not even to where you step out on the street. It's a weird angle, and with these bushes they have there, and this power utility box thing that's there, you cannot visualize the people stepping off the curb and crossing the street. So I don't know whether you can visualize it in your head, but I'm telling you, you've got to go over there and take a look at what I'm talking about. It's very, very dangerous.
Walking from north to south?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it goes off to the side. Like when you step off on a curb, you usually go straight across the street. With this, you have to step off onto Main Street. and then go around. So when the cars heading west on Fifth Avenue, there's 2 lanes. The one on the right to make the turn, you can't see these people in the crosswalk. You virtually cannot see the people in the crosswalk.
Mike, when you're over there tomorrow with the police, could you have the police check that out and look to see how we could remedy? Yeah.
I'm sure tapping cops will make that happen.
It's dangerous, I'm just making
You
everybody.
said there's hedges there? The hedges like too tall, or?
There's like this seagrass stuff, and it's
We get
very tall
Barry-
and wide.
Explain to
and-
Barry and ask Barry to cut them back.
And then there's also, I don't know whether it's a utility box of some kind for power that's there, but it's totally blocking anybody walking into the crossbar.
Yeah, I don't think we can move the utility box.
Well, I know that, but if you could just take a look at what I'm talking about,
Well,
it's very, very dangerous.
I think when they do the replacement of the bridge, probably some things will change.
Well, that would be a good thing.
But we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
I think we can do the grass. I think we can see what we can do with the crosswalk, but the utility box,
Well, I understand you can't do that, but maybe if they can do with the bridge, if they could reconstruct how the people step on. But if you go over there, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to visualize that, but if you go over there, you'll
we'll
see
do
what
your
I
job,
mean.
Swin.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience want to step forward to the microphone? Crossing guard, maybe we should put you at that corner, you know?
Bruce Blattner, 407 9th Avenue. Thank you, Jen, for the comment. Thank you, Brian. I just wanted, when you mentioned that about Pat Roddy, I just wanted to mention as President of the Board of Trustees of the Library, we are having a concert this Thursday evening, Dan White, and just to let everybody know, and food will be provided by Jimmy's Restaurant, hot dogs, water, chips and stuff, so just to let you know,
5:30.
along those lines. Thursday, yeah, at
5:30.
5:30. So,
At the library.
at the library. So don't make dinner that night, come and have dinner at the library.
Very good. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, I make a motion to close tonight's meeting. Do I have a second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it.